What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 7, Episode 7. So we are still at the part where the women are getting ready for dinner. They're still at the house, and Mia calls Peter Thomas to let him know that they're going to be coming to his restaurant, Bar One, for dinner. And she tells him all the people that are going to be coming with her, they're going to be joining with her. She mentions Wendy. And Peter says that he's got beef with Wendy. And so Mia, she's all ears. It's just really sad when you see women get excited about another woman possibly involved in some type of a conflict or some kind of an issue with someone else. Because when Peter Thomas told her, yeah, I got beef with Wendy, Mia absolutely perked up. She completely perked up. And Giselle did it as well a little bit later on, but we'll get to that. So Mia wants to know what is the beef that Peter has with Wendy, and Peter just says, hey, when y'all get here, let me know. So Mia talks about how her and Peter Thomas, her and Gordon have known Peter Thomas for 10 years. He was the first one to hold her daughter after Gordon, after the child was born. So she wants to make it look like, her and Peter Thomas are just, thick as thieves. And maybe they are, I don't know. But it was really important for her to talk about how far back her and Peter Thomas go and how close they really are. I guess to justify why she was involved in business that had nothing to do with her. Maybe that's why she was laying that groundwork down. So from there, we move on to Giselle, Robin, and Ashley. Giselle and Robin are chilling in their room, and Ashley comes in and they talk about how Michael has been really, really difficult with Ashley, and she's talking about how hard it is to live with him. And the Green Eye Bandits tell her, yeah, this is divorce. It's getting more difficult because y'all are divorcing. Y'all are, ending your marriage. So yeah, it is going to get a lot more difficult because Ashley had always wanted to paint this picture that her and Michael were extremely amicable, that this was going to be like a friendly divorce. They have no issues. Everything is copacetic. Well, not so much. So they're letting her know that, look, no matter how hard you try to make it friendly, divorce is divorce, and it's going to get ugly because there's money, there's children, there's property. Yeah, so just, buckle your seatbelt, Ashley. And then there's this sound all of a sudden that emerges, and Ashley's like, what is that? And they tell her every single time the toilet flushes, you can hear it in Giselle and Robin's room because the pipes are running through that room on the ceiling. And that is, I could not, y'all, I couldn't do it, because the fact that those pipes are connected to the plumbing of the bathroom and the toilet. Every time somebody flushes, y'all, I couldn't do it. There is just no way. And Giselle says something about how, the Mia tried to sell us this room because of this view, but who cares about the view when you have toilet water running across your ceiling? That's just disgusting to me. Moving on. So and another thing about the house, there's no AC. Everybody was complaining about how hot it was inside. Okay, so then it was Giselle, Ashley, and Mia. They were outside, and according to Giselle, Wendy had done some type of research on Peter to see what they had in common or something. And she wanted to present a business idea or propose a business idea to Peter after she had done her research on Peter. This is according to Giselle. So Peter was just going to go ahead and play along with whatever Wendy had in mind. And Giselle says in her confessional that it never would have worked because Wendy has no money. Okay. Wendy is a professor. She is a commentator on a major cable network. She has her candle business. Her husband's an attorney. I don't understand. What do you mean they don't have any money when he has no money? Anyways, moving on. Now we are at dinner. So they wanted to make it sound nefarious that Wendy was, for whatever reason was desperate to work with Peter. So she does all this research on him to see what she can use to hook him so that they can get into business together. And I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense to me. To me, it just seems like Wendy wanted to get into the restaurant, bar, lounge business, and Peter, is around, he's close enough to her for her to meet up with him or call him or reach out to him and get advice or whatever it was. It wasn't about her. Like, she wasn't trying to figure out how to get to Peter. So let me come up with this business idea. It was, I had a business idea. So then I contacted Peter. That's how it seemed like to me. So I don't know what the hell Giselle is talking about. So then, on their way to dinner, they go in two separate cars, four in one group, four in another. And I think Robin was in the car with Ashley, and I don't remember, but I know Ashley was there. I think Giselle was in that car, and was it Charisse as well? I think it was also Charisse. I'm not sure. So they're talking about walking around naked in your home in front of your kids. And I know a lot of people do this. They see nothing wrong with it. It's very natural for them, and they want their children to see it as being very natural as well. But y'all, I can't get down like that because no. I think it's inappropriate. I just think it's inappropriate for, regardless of the gender of the parent or the gender of the children, it doesn't matter to me. I think just it's inappropriate to be walking around naked in front of your kids. But that's what Robin says she does. Even though she's got boys and her boys are teenagers now, she's really comfortable with it, and it is what it is in their home. Giselle says in her confessional that because of her children getting older, that should be like an absolute no-no. And I'm like of the mindset, it doesn't matter how old your kids are. Yeah, we're not going to do that. So they get to the restaurant, and one of the first things that they talk about when they sit down is they talk about Chris. So evidently, I had thought in last week's episode, I thought when Giselle got onto because remember in last week's episode, after they had that, whatever that was that Wendy was trying to do, whatever it was that she was trying to do. And after it fell apart and all the women dispersed and Giselle had gotten into the Sprinter van with Robin, she had told Robin that Chris had put his hands on Ashley's friend's butt. So when she said that, I had assumed that that's what Ashley had said, because Ashley had brought up how Chris was getting too chummy with her friend. And Ashley had said that Chris was all up in her face. And she demonstrated how Chris was like, putting his face all up next to or all up in front of her friend's face. So when Ashley had said that, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I don't see that as Chris doing anything out of line or doing anything that was violating your friend, because, he was putting his face closer to hers, because there could be an explanation for that. This is what happened when you don't ask the other side what the hell they were doing. You just go run and assume things. Maybe he was trying to hear her better, and so he had to lean into her to kind of hear her better. So I didn't take what Ashley said seriously at all. But then Giselle told Robin that Chris had put his hand on Ashley's friend's butt. And so I was like, oh, because the way that Giselle had said it to Robin, it was so convincing. Like, this is exactly what she heard. And the only one she could have heard it from would have been Ashley. So I thought, oh, okay, so at some point off camera, or maybe I missed it, Ashley had explained further what Chris had done to her friend. And he had actually placed his hand on her butt. So I was like, wow, I'm surprised I wasn't on camera when Ashley said that. Well, at this dinner at Bar 1, Ashley brings up this conversation, and she's like, who said that Chris had put his hand on my friend's butt? Because that did not come from me. And Giselle says, well, I distinctly remember hearing it from somebody. Oh, you heard it from somebody, but you don't know who you heard it from, even though it was just a handful of y'all there. You can't remember who told. Something as important, as monumental as Chris physically touching another female on their butt. You all of a sudden have amnesia, Giselle, and you can't remember who said it. Because you know, as much as you love the mess, Giselle, you would have known exactly who said it. You would have been taking notes. You would have been recording with your phone. You would have been asking a million questions. Stop it. So Giselle just took it upon herself to embellish the story, and she doesn't really give a damn that she got it wrong and that she really didn't hear that from anybody, that she completely made up this story about Chris putting his hand on somebody's butt, and she don't even really care about it. She doesn't even care. She don't give a damn. Well, I heard it from somebody. Somebody said it. Giselle, the way you are, you know exactly who would have said it, because you would have been interrogating that person. You would have wanted to get all of the juicy details of that. Whether it was Ashley or whoever else could have said it, you would have been all over that story like white on rice. So, moving on from there. Giselle then says to Sharice and Karen that she was so excited and just so happy that Sharice and Karen had spoken at the airport. And so where do they stand now? Here we go. Giselle's starting mess. And I understand that's the role that she plays, and that's what she's getting paid to do, because she never has any business of her own. So she's only there to further on everybody else's storylines, because she has no storyline of her own. But the fact that she is just like so excited whenever women are in conflict, and it just really is like, I don't know, the bee's knees to her when she sees friends in conflict and she just wants to exasperate the situation. It's getting disgusting. It's not fun anymore. It's not like, oh, okay, she's the bone carrier, whatever, because she does it so like, ooh, so Karen and Sharice, where do y'all stand now? Knowing that Karen and Sharice do not see it for one another at all. So Karen says that she has evolved. She's moved on. She ain't tripping over no damn Sharice. After Sharice said what she said 5 years ago at the reunion about Karen having a side piece, Karen was done. And so Sharice, I don't know what Sharice was trying to do. I don't know what Sharice was trying to say or whatever, but Karen was like, look, it's okay for friendships to evolve and for friendships to kind of drift apart. It's perfectly okay. So Giselle did not get the response or the reaction that she was seeking. She wanted them to go, deep into their issues and start bickering and going back and forth and, going all the way back in history about who said what, when, and where. And she didn't get that. So in her confessional, Giselle says, Karen is a mess. Just talk about what the issue is with Sharice, and so we can all move on. Number one, Karen doesn't have to talk about a damn thing that she doesn't want to talk about. Number two, she has moved on. The rest of y'all haven't, but Karen has moved on. That's why she don't see her for Sharice. So then Mia leaves the table. She goes looking for Peter to find out, what beef does he have with Wendy. So this is where Mia really, really began to aggravate me, because here we have another female who's really excited and gets her rocks off by another woman having some type of a conflict, or assuming that another female is having some type of conflict. So she wants to know, what conflict does Wendy have, or does Peter have with Wendy, or vice versa? So she corners Peter and demands to know exactly what went down. And Peter says that he had sent Wendy the contract because Wendy said she wanted to get into business with him. So he had sent her the contract to review and sign, and he never heard from her. She basically just ghosted him. So, Mia pokes fun at Wendy, talking about how broke she is. And Sharice was also standing there when Mia and Peter were having this conversation. And Wendy says something to the effect of, well, you're better off doing business with Sharice because she's got real money. Her checks don't bounce. How do you know what's going on in Wendy's bank account, Mia? How do you know? You're the one that, you and your husband Gordon got ousted or iced out of y'all's own chiropractic business because, Gordon's brothers did whatever the hell they did to kind of push you and Gordon out. So if anybody's having financial problems, it's you and Gordon. What do you know what's going on with Wendy and her bank account and her checks? So Peter says that, Wendy, okay, so we talked about that, how she never responded to him. Peter feels slighted because Wendy shows up in his restaurant after not going through with the deal and just leaving him hanging. And so he felt some kind of way about that. So Wendy did say something, because when Peter came to the table to greet all the women, he said something to Wendy about, I'm still waiting for your response, or I haven't heard from you, or something like that. And I thought I heard Wendy said, check your texts. So she did respond. Well, I don't know. We can only go by what these people say. But Wendy said that she did respond. So Mia says in her confessional that, if Wendy needed more time, she should have just said that. And if Wendy was just too broke to go on with the business deal, she should have just said that. So we're back at the table now. So while Mia was gone, running around looking for Peter, hunting him down, at the dinner table, her friend Jacqueline is having a conversation with the ladies. I think she was talking directly. I forgot. Was it Ashley? Whatever. It doesn't matter. But her own friend, this friend that she claims that they go all the way back to high school days, making it seem like this is like her best friend, that they've known each other all their lives. This same friend tells the people at the table that if she would have met if she would have met Mia now as an adult, she most likely would not be friends with her, because she's a lot. She's too much to handle. That says a lot. So Mia comes back to the table. She sits down, and this is where the mess begins. So she brings up how Peter told her that he had beef with Wendy. And so Wendy was like, what beef could he possibly have with me? So Wendy says, I don't have any beef with him. If he has any type of beef with me, he needs to talk to my husband. Okay, y'all, this is where I gotta have a convo with Wendy. Nothing irks me more than a woman who claims she cannot speak to another man about anything, and it has to go through her husband. Like, her husband is her owner. I don't know. Her controller. I don't get it. I don't understand, where women have fought for equal rights and want to be able to get, all the rights and privileges that men have. But then when it comes to speaking with another man, all of a sudden, oh, I need my husband. You're going to have to prefer to my husband. I don't talk to men. What? It irks me so much, especially in this particular situation, when the issue is strictly between Wendy and Peter. Because Wendy, you went to go seek Peter out for whatever reason, and you sat with him and you told him that you, Wendy Osefo, wanted to go into business with him, and your husband was nowhere in sight. So if your husband wasn't there when you were looking for Peter Thomas and wanting to work with him, why all of a sudden your husband has to be there to speak to Peter about an issue that you're having with Peter? No, Wendy, we need to talk to you. We're talking to you. Forget about Eddie. We're talking to you. So that's the one thing that I had an issue with Wendy in this episode, was this whole, you're going to have to refer to my husband because I don't talk to other men. Girl, shut up. So Mia says something about, if you were coming to Miami, you should have told Peter, you should have given him the heads up that you were on your way, because, you and him are having this business deal or whatever the hell. And Wendy says, the only man that I'll call is my husband. And then she says something to Mia about, her and Gordon's marriage, something about the fact that they'd be sleeping around with both men and women. Mia got aggravated. She took a drink and she threw it in Wendy's face. Security comes in and intervenes. Mia's friend Jacqueline is even trying to tell Mia to calm the hell down. Jacqueline is telling Mia, you are too grown and too big for this. You need to sit down and relax and control yourself, because you're looking foolish. Robin, okay, so Robin to me took a trip into stupid land when she got all up in when she was trying to get up in Wendy's face in that one episode at the dance studio. When she tried to get up in Wendy's face and expeditiously sat back down, and when she purposely did not invite Wendy and her kids to her fun day, her debacle of a fun day Sunday. That was to me the first trip that Robin took to Stupid Land. Now, when I saw this episode and the things that were coming out of Robin's mouth towards Wendy, now I know for sure that Robin has taken up permanent residency in Stupid Land, because the things that she said made no sense to me at all. She sounded ridiculous. So Robin says to Wendy, "You're baiting and you're being antagonistic." She said that word antagonistic about 50 times in this episode. It was like a word that she had just learned. Like in the middle of me and Wendy's fight, I don't know if Robin was looking in the dictionary or she was trying to Google a word, how she felt about this or whatever. And the word antagonistic popped up on her phone because she said that word ad nauseum throughout this episode. And it was like, girl, can you think of another word? Can you pull out your thesaurus and find another synonym for antagonistic? Because you have worn that word out. So she kept on telling Wendy, you're being antagonistic, because basically what Robin was saying, let Mia talk to you and do whatever the hell she wants to do to you, and you need to just sit there and take it. Because whenever you try to defend yourself and speak up for yourself, you're being antagonistic. And the only thing that Wendy was trying to do was just try to defend herself. And it's absolutely ludicrous that Robin would consider Wendy antagonistic when it was Mia that made the first move, that made the first aggressive move and battered Wendy with a glass of water, a glass of wine, or whatever that was, and threw it in her face. That was a battery. But you're calling Wendy antagonistic when it was Mia that was, acting violent. So Wendy says, you threw a drink. She's talking to Mia. She says, you threw a drink in my face over Peter Thomas. Is it because you're sleeping with him? Is that why? And Robin again tries to put all the blame on Wendy, says absolutely nothing to Mia, is constantly berating Wendy for Wendy defending herself. So then Karen tells Mia that throwing a drink is not the right thing to do. Mia, she tries to do this whole I'm about to cry thing, to be more sympathetic or to appear more sympathetic. And Mia says that she was justified in throwing the drink at Wendy because Wendy has said something about her husband. But y'all are the ones that constantly were talking about how y'all were doing all kinds of stuff in strip clubs or strippers and all kinds of stuff. Y'all are the ones putting y'all's business out there, making it seem like y'all were swingers, hanging from the chandeliers, doing whatever with whoever, wherever. Come on now. But then all of a sudden, Wendy speaks facts about, you and your husband are sleeping around with both men and women. And now you're offended and you're on the verge of tears. As if you and Gordon are like the pastor and the first lady of a very conservative church. So because Karen was trying to, appease both Mia and Wendy, because she was really attacking Mia, saying, hey, Mia, not attacking Mia, but, getting Mia together and saying, Mia, you throwing a drink at her, that just wasn't right. So then Giselle gets upset with Karen and tells Karen that she needs to pick a side. Like she's picking the side of common sense, by telling Mia, you can't be throwing drinks in people's faces. So Giselle gets aggravated at Karen and tells Karen, you need to pick a side, pick a friend. And Karen says, I'm everybody's friend, including your raggedy butt, Giselle. Leave Karen alone. It's her birthday. So then Mia and Wendy go at it again because throughout the whole night, they would start going at each other. Then security comes in, then they would stop. Then they would start again, then they would start again. And so it was a bunch of that throughout the night. So at some point, Mia's putting her finger in Wendy's face and talking to her. Wendy got up. And she was like, okay, I'm not going to sit down and play nice anymore. Wendy actually got up out of her chair, but then security intervened. Giselle. This is what I want to talk about. Giselle was so giddy. She was so excited. She was so happy to watch her friends, her castmates, her associates, whatever the hell you want to call them, her coworkers, fight. She loved it. It's absolutely disgusting to me how she gets excited when there's conflict amongst other black women. It makes her day. When people are getting along and they're happy, she's got to do what she's paid to do, I guess. She's got to find something to make them start arguing and getting mad at each other. And then when they do it, she's excited. She's happy. This is what she lives for. Watching her sisters just go at it like this, like a couple of animals. So Wendy and Mia, they keep going. Robin continues to call Wendy antagonistic. Then they're out of their seats now. They're yelling at each other. Mia threw something at Wendy. I think she threw her purse at her or something. I don't know. Mia ends up leaving the table. Wendy keeps talking. When Mia leaves, Wendy keeps talking about, oh, is that a boss? Is that a boss? Throwing drinks in people's faces, starting fights, blah, blah, blah. Are you a boss? Is that how a boss acts? And so while Wendy is going on and on like this, Robin is upset. She keeps telling Wendy to be quiet, calling her antagonistic, the only word that she knows. And then she gets up and she's like, Wendy, you win. Okay, you win. Mia is off in the shadows somewhere, calling her husband Gordon, telling her husband to book her a flight because she's out of there, because she got into it with Wendy. She even broke a nail over this. Her finger is bleeding everywhere. Back at the table, Ashley says, and I thought this was what Ashley said, that she was completely against Mia's behavior. She was not for Mia throwing the drink in throwing the drink in Wendy's face. So Giselle says something that was very pro Mia, saying that, well, she's not okay right now. And she's calling Gordon, she's just trying to figure out how she's going to move in the next couple of days, how she's going to, what her next actions are going to be for the next couple of days. And so Wendy was done. She was like, you know what? I cannot sit around a bunch of Mia empathizers. And she gets up and she leaves. And on her way out, she tells Giselle, when Monique attacked Candace, you were calling Monique violent. Mia attacks me, but you said absolutely nothing and you're on her side. Exactly. And you wonder why Giselle, Robin, why y'all are called colorists. Because y'all are attacking a woman. What the hell has she done wrong? Now, Robin, the whole thing about Wendy getting on your case with your non-relationship with Juan, you being so affected by that and being so butthurt about that, when it's just, it's facts. Y'all been together 11 years, keep on talking about getting married, still have yet to see that happen. You have one excuse after another of why you haven't got married. So where was she wrong? And I see no chemistry between you and Juan. I just see a couple of roommates, a couple of homies living together, raising kids together. That's all I see between you and Juan. Anyways, moving on from that. There's no reason to attack Wendy. First of all, Mia, this had nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing to do. And I don't understand how Giselle and Robin didn't see this. This had nothing to do with Mia. Her looking for Peter, getting all the details about what happened between Peter and Wendy and this business deal. That is none of her business. It's got nothing to do with her. She comes back to the table. She thought she was spilling tea. Peter's got beef with you. That's got nothing to do with you, Mia. That is strictly between, and if you are so concerned because Peter is family to you, if you are so concerned about the issue between Wendy and Peter, why didn't you just ask Wendy? And just say, hey girl, Peter's telling me X, Y, and Z. So what's really going on here? If it's first, it's none of your business, but if you really had to know, if you could not live another day without knowing, ask her. So what's the tea? What's going on? I like you. I like Peter. Y'all were supposed to be doing this business deal together. He says you ghosted him, but I know that you're not the kind of person to ghost somebody. I know you're all about your business. You're all about your coins. So what's really going on? And then let her explain, give her side of the story. But you came there thinking that you really had some juicy Peter's got beef with you. Come on, Mia. So it had nothing to do with you. Then you throw in a drink in her face because she says something about your marriage to she said something about you and Gordon. But you're the one that put it out there that y'all were like living this very open lifestyle or whatever the hell y'all were doing over at the damn strip club. And remember, you even told the whole world that your husband prefers white women as opposed to black women. So where's the lie that she said? And for you to react so emotionally like that, it shows that she hit a nerve. She really hit a nerve for you to go crazy like that because she said you and your, and I understand that it came off like, to me, when Wendy said, you and your husband sleeping around with both men and women, I didn't necessarily take it as her saying that Gordon was sleeping with men. I just took it as y'all are sleeping with both men and women, like you're sleeping with men and he's sleeping with other women. That's how I took it. So I don't know what Wendy meant by that, but whatever she said, it hit a nerve with Mia. It really hit a nerve with her. And that's how we got the debacle that we got. Anyways, so that's that. Wendy, you're wrong. Giselle and Robin, you're wrong. Y'all are crazy. Y'all are absolutely nuts. Y'all have no common sense. It's just hate towards Wendy because you don't want her on the show. You don't like her. Many people are saying it's because of colorism. I think it's more than that. I mean, that's in the pot as well. That's involved as well. That's in there, but it's way more than that. I think it's colorism. It's jealousy. It's envy. It's just plain hatred towards her. And I don't understand why, because she's calling y'all out, for the losers that y'all really are. I don't know what else to say. And I know that that's and I don't understand why there's like this hate campaign against Candace, constantly attacking her y'all. I don't know. Anyways, I'm not going to talk about Candace because she wasn't in this episode, but we shall see what happens with Candace later. That is my review. Thank you so much for joining me. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, please subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.